Hey folks, if you don't know me, name's Sidarian, or Sid for short. I'm a solo indie game dev building a 3D action RPG game in Godot. I'm taking inspiration from a variety of games, I've talked about this in other videos, in order to sort of Frankenstein this fast, floaty combat system where you switch between multiple jobs mid-fight in order to pull off super cool combos using status afflictions, elemental attacks, and just fun ultimate moves. And fair warning, everything you're about to see in this video and the other devlogs, at least this early on, it's all gray boxes, free models, free animations, that kind of stuff. I have a system budget of me, myself, and I, and an art budget of 0. I can draw very basic 2D characters, and that's about it. I don't have any 3D modeling skills or animation skills, so bear with me. But I shan't let that, put a stop to things. I got a dream here. I got a goal. I've wanted to make this game for so long. I've made a lot of projects over the years, and this is the first one that I'm actually gonna move forward with commercial intent. I'm super excited, and I could talk about this for hours. The studios I respect always built the toy first and made it pretty later, right? It's more important that you finish the thing and make it workable. So this is the toy. This week, the end of last week, I went through and did a huge overhaul on all the plumbing in my code, and it sort of cascaded into solving a lot of other problems. So this week, I had a huge, batch of updates that I was able to do to the game. So I'm going to make a series of different videos where I'll kind of show off these different aspects. This week, I wanted to talk about one of the coolest ones that I'm excited about, which is just that the enemy's got a brain, and I want to show you how they think. So every creature in my game, or NPC rather, whether it be an enemy or the companion that fights alongside you, or even your little minions, run off of the same brain. It kind of works like an auction, where every 10th of a second the brain looks at everything it could do, like attack, dodge, retreat, follow, or if they're assigned to a task, it could be something like chop wood or construct a building. That's mainly for the minions that are helping you reclaim your destroyed homeland from those pesky heroes. And, every option makes a bid. Highest bid wins. Nothing of that flavor is scripted. We will most likely have some sort of scripted event-based boss sequences that'll be super fun to look forward to. I'm a big fan of games like, Elden Ring and Final Fantasy and Legend of Zelda, different games where the bosses have multiple phases and you get them to a certain amount of HP and then they transition to shooting lasers out of their eyeballs or whatever. But that text you see above the heads, that's the auction, sort of live. You're literally seeing them think. So when the enemy runs at you, it's because attacking outbid everything else. And if you kind of see from some of the playtest footage here, as I'm trying to do some of the actions from some of these jobs where I'm kind of winding up, the enemies are trying to evade me. They don't have a roll animation, so assume that they're running. They're moving away. They're like, get out of here. He's going to punch me. They don't dodge everything. I have a video I'll show you guys later. I accidentally overtuned that, and I had an enemy that was basically just this immortal little blob guy who nobody could hit ever, so that was fun. Each enemy type reacts to a percentage of attacks. I found that to be a more effective way to sort of layer these sequences, which is a number, and I can tune that to each creature. It's a little dial that I can adjust. So fast jabs tend to slip under the reaction timer, so this way, if you're just doing kind of lower priority attack sequences, you're not usually going to have them constantly dodging out of your way, because it ends up being more frustrating. But again, that's a dial we can adjust as we go. It wasn't really programmed to be a special case because it falls outside of the auction. Crowds have manners now too, and I kind of stole this idea from the God of War series, or even Doom, as crazy as that sounds, where only a few enemies may attack you at once. It's sort of like a token system. So, and depending on the difficulty scale, or I'm hoping to further flesh this out to make it so the enemy difficulty in terms of like a threat level that they may pose to you as the player, may have more or less tokens based on the encounter too. This way it can kind of change up and make fights a little bit more dynamic, even if you revisit older levels and things like that. The rest of the enemies that aren't actively fighting you sort of stage like an outer ring. They'll sort of circle you, or they'll do feint attacks, or they'll just try to intimidate you and look spooky out in the side. But when you drop one of the inner 3, which is how I have it programmed right now, someone rotates in to take their place. It keeps big fights readable without it being this like weird blender of a sea of enemies in front of you, which can be fun, but you have to design the encounter sort of around that rather than worrying about a token system. There's different ways to approach this. And you can kind of see some orange shapes in the ground. That's the attack's real hitbox from the enemy, drawn from the same data that the hit actually uses, so you can easily kind of see where it is and get out of the way. Final Fantasy XIV players and a lot of MMO players will kind of be familiar with this idea. I likely won't be keeping that during production, especially not, moving forward into late production or release. But for now, when I'm using a bunch of free models that have little to no actual animations, I think that it's super helpful for me when I'm testing it. So this way I can kind of see in real time, like, oh yeah, those attacks are a little big, a little small. Now, at this stage during prototyping and into a vertical slice, you don't want to get hung up on like numbers and balance and things like that. That's like mid to late production stuff. That does not matter right now. But it's important to me to know that I'm at least not wildly outside of the range, so an enemy doesn't hit me and destroy 3 towns worth of area. One detail I really liked is that wounded enemies will break off and run, but only once. They will kind of run away, catch their breath, and then they'll turn around and sort of fight to the end. Because I learned, as I'm sure other devs have, that if you program them to just retreat, they'll just run infinitely. So that's a whole problem. I had an issue where a couple enemies not only ran, but they somehow clipped through the level. So they ran so far, they like fell through the floor into the infinite abyss of the skybox. So that was weird to watch. It's fun to target that. I do like the idea that enemies, when they disengage like this, and this is just a concept for later, that maybe when they rejoin the fight, they're like, oh, they're in a frenzy mode, or maybe their next attack is like a guaranteed critical, or this way you as the player will recognize, hey, that guy over there, he ran away from me. I'm gonna go get him before he becomes like goes into his death throes kind of stance and becomes a problem. Like, I like that. That's fun. That's interesting. I want to kind of hash out that idea a little bit more too. Another thing that I will have a whole video on is the companion system. There's lots of games that I pulled inspiration from for this. In the story, the companion is going to be the main character's little sister. She's going to fight alongside you. She's going to have her own jobs that she'll be able to change into, and her own equipment. You'll have a shared inventory, because that would be insane to have an AI manage its own inventory. Or maybe not insane. What would that look like? Could I do that? I don't know. That sounds ridiculous. Anyways, when she goes down mid-fight, which right now, considering it's prototype and the numbers are all screwy all over the place, it happens pretty frequently. She stays down where she falls, right? She's unconscious. This way, you as the player, you have to make a decision. Do you want to risk yourself, go over and try to revive her? There'll be abilities in the game or consumable items that allow you to either heal her or, get her a quick res real quick. But if you don't have those, you can go over and you just have to mash the button real quick in order to get her back on her feet. So then what's my objective with your general map enemy encounters? Well, I want encounters that make you sit up and think. Not a horde lawn mowing machine where, Dynasty Warriors, you're running around just mashing 2 buttons all day, every day, and, watching everybody go down. As fun as that is, don't get me wrong. But I also don't want the other end of the pendulum, which is like a Souls-like, where you're walking in a marsh and then out of nowhere, some toad that you didn't even see jumps out and one-shots you. Like, there's a happy medium here. Combat is made to sort of feel is the goal that I'm chasing. It's supposed to feel kind of like the momentum of like a Kingdom Hearts 2 or Kingdom Hearts 3, where it's got that kind of floaty, combo heavy combat, but not as easy as Kingdom Hearts. I want to scale that up a little bit, both with large scale encounters and with enemies that are going to be reactive to the things you do, as well as reactive to different elements and status effects and stage hazards that's going on. So field enemies, the idea there is that you carve through them, but every so often one of them will make you stop or change your approach. The next build, that's actually what I'm working on, is to have a little bit of enemy variety. Maybe a large shield enemy that you have to flank, right? Attack them from behind. Or support creatures that will sit there and heal or buff allies out in the field. Or things that fly around in the air, so this way we finally get to use some of this fancy schmancy air combat I've been designing. Or giant enemies where you gotta like climb up parts of their body in order to attack their weak spots, right? I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait to show you guys the stuff that I've been working on. So if any of this is interesting, the Discord is where the play tests will happen, if you're even interested in that sort of thing. I know not everybody's interested in doing play tests and actually providing feedback, so no harm, no foul. But it's also where you can chat with me or ask questions, or if you have ideas. When we move into sort of some pre-production type layouts, I'm really excited to talk with the community and kind of brainstorm, like, what are our jobs gonna be? What sort of element combos do we want to pull off? What are some fun levers we get to do? And so we'll discuss all that on the platform. I'll be posting short clips on the different socials. I got TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky, Instagram, and I want to start posting all these like stupid game-breaking bugs that I keep popping up all over the place. Some of them are fun. Some of them are just ridiculous. The next devlog that I'll be putting out, probably starting next week, is I'll show off the 4 prototype jobs that we've got so far, which are Duskblade, Plague Tongue, Wind Mage, and Harvester. I do not expect any of these to actually make it into the production pipeline. I tried to design them all around being able to combo off of each other for different abilities, as well as being able to just feel like they mechanically stand alone as something fun to play, but also chain into each other in different ways. I'll be able to explain a lot more about that in the next video, as well as what my general philosophy is on the what we're calling the affinity system, which a lot of games do, right? You've got, I think Warframe does something similar. I think Genshin, I want to say, does something similar, where you like chain elements together. I want to be able to stack things. Anyway, I could go into a whole thing. I'll spare. That's the next video. That's coming out sometime later on that. But all the longer videos like this, I'm gonna post on YouTube. But the shorter ones, I'll put out little teasers and clips and stuff on the different socials, so you guys can do that. Anyways, blah 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 blah. Feel free to follow along in order to help support this. The goal is to build a fully working vertical slice, and who knows? Maybe we talk to publishing companies with the vertical slice and the ideas, or maybe we go the crowd-funded Kickstarter route. I don't know. It really depends. I'm very excited. I've been working on this for a very long time, and I reached a breakthrough in my education in regards to building this, and it's like I just woke up one day and something just clicked, and I'm like, I know how this all works now. So it's been super fun, and I'm excited to build a game that you're going to want to play. That's kind of the goal. It could be my dream game all I want, but I mean, it doesn't mean anything if I'm making it for myself. I gotta make it for other people. So let's make it together. Blah, blah, blah. Talk to you soon. Bye.